here. Skippy got these from the fire department. I made a one copy for everybody if they wanted. It's a meeting, it's an educational meeting to go to.
Is Kevin here?
Who's that?
No, he couldn't be here tonight.
Okay. You all ready?
It's 7 o'clock. If we could all please rise for a pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening, everybody. To start off the meeting here tonight, we have a public hearing. That public hearing is proposed local law number 2 of the year 2025, establishing a 12-month moratorium on applications, approvals, and/or construction or installation on solar energy systems and/or solar farms. Is there anybody here that would like to comment on this local law? It is a public hearing, so anybody can come up and say anything they want regarding solar farms, solar fields. We are intending on putting a 12-month moratorium on that. No. He asked if it was residential. I said no, just to let everybody know. Any other comments? Questions? With that, I'm going to need a roll call vote. And I'm going to close the public hearing right now. Can I get a motion and a second to close the public hearing? Motion by Mr. Christ, second by Mr. Lang. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Yeah. With that, I'm going to close the public hearing, and we can open up our town board meeting. Cindy, looking for the approval of the town board meeting minutes. Any comments, any questions about last month's meeting? Anybody wants to comment? Can I get a motion to approve the town board meeting minutes from September?
Make a motion.
Motion by Mr. Valentine, second by Mr. Lang. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Town clerk report.
September receipts totaled $2,379, with $871.62 going into the general fund. That's it.
Thank you. Assessor? Louise?
Yeah, just, we're still working on it.
Yeah, actually, maybe if you can, just want to make sure everybody can hear.
Not a problem.
We do live stream our meetings, so that's why we do what we do, so people can hear when they're at the comfort of their home. So go ahead, Louise.
So, we are still working on the reval, Donna, Lynn, and I, and, working closely with New York State Real Property, which is based out of Batavia. I'm gonna be sending out letters to all the residents in the next few weeks, kind of explaining the process, having some contact information, and along with exemption renewals, I'm gonna do those early. So just plugging away at that.
For those that don't know, we haven't had a reval here in the town of Murray since 2019. So right now, our equalization rate, I think, is down around 60%, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
Most other townships in this county are up around 90, 95, or 100%. Is that a correct statement?
Right, and, I mean, we would have had 2 revals at this point, so we're way behind, and as anyone that keeps an eye on the market, you know what houses are going for, so we really need to update and get close to 100%. That's what we're working on.
Any other issues with the county and being able to get into the system there and printing and all that?
No, they took care of that. Everything's all set.
So it's all resolved? Okay,
Thank you.
very good. Code enforcement, planning and zoning. I got a report from Kevin Moore, our code enforcement officer. Building permits issued 5, special use permit application 1, site plan submittal reviews 2, building inspections 11, a certificate of compliance issued 3, complaints received 1. Kevin says their final draft of the E-code is being reviewed. There are 86 questions that need to be addressed in total. 65 of these questions have been addressed. Input from the town assessor and town attorney will be required for some of the remaining questions. This step of the project should be completed on time frame set by general code. Draft solar energy law was forwarded to myself today. Actually sent that off to our town attorney today for review. Fire inspections and operating permits due in 2025 are being verified for being completed. There was a total of 7 building permit applications in the month of August. 5 applications were approved and permits were issued. 2 applicants are pending, waiting on supporting documentation. The next planning board meeting is scheduled for November 3rd, 2025 at 7 p.m. Okay. Highway and water?
Highway, we completed our. We've completed our road work for the season. We just finished chip sealing Lynch Road, and a road north of Ridge, either West Kendall or Center Road. Sorry, I'm drawing a blank on that. We fogged it, which is a tack coat seal to keep the stone down, so it might not plow back off as easily. We're currently over on the cemetery on Hubbardton Road with the county shared services, trying to clean that up. And as far as the water department, we fixed a water break down at the school on the entrance at the elementary school. We fixed a major leak, which was in September, which you know about, on Brockport Holly Road that we finally located. It was going on for a little while. And had a couple of services. We just had a service installed on Heinsberg Road over the weekend, put a meter in there. And we're working on getting the plows, the trucks ready for winter and outfitted, cleaning up the shop for election day. Getting that prepared, just various things. We have to pave around the fuel pumps and get that ready for winter yet. Various other things. The mowing's just been finished for the 3rd time this season. It was completed last week. Other than that, that's about it. If you have any questions.
I got a couple questions. The plow for the new 10-wheeler.
Yes.
Do we have a plow for that yet, or is that on back order, or what's the plan to equip that new 10-wheeler with the plow?
A while back, we had spoke about it, not having the funds, all the funds to purchase it. We didn't need the funds this year to purchase it. I just needed board approval to order it and get it on order, which has been done. It won't go into production unless we give the okay and order it. Once it's in production, it's all finished and welded up and fabricated and whatnot. The local outfitter will get notice. They'll get in contact with us. They'll put it in queue to get on schedule. They anticipate sometime next year, March. It'll be after winter is what they're telling me. So we don't need the funds for that until next year. At that time, we'll have a truck to get rid of to come up with some of the additional funds. So I'm waiting to hear from them. The truck came in early. They came in July, I believe, and we have delivery of that, and it's in the barn. And we had the funds for all that. It's all taken care of. Warranty doesn't start until it's put into service on it. So we're kind of anxious to get that done. It's going to be a little while before that it's ready.
We have a plow for the six-wheeler that we got earlier this year?
We took an older plow, and put it on that truck to make it usable. No wing is on it, but at least we can plow a path. I wanted to get a wing attached to it. They did give a quote. It's not a huge amount of money. I want to say they were saying like $25,000 for a maintenance wing.
Okay.
But that is able to do a little bit of salting. It's got a different setup than what we're used to, but as a backup, that's what it was bought for and to be utilized for last year.
Our NYMER inspection was done back in July.
Yep.
I know we talked about that at our work meeting last week. I know they wanted some sort of a written response within 60 days. There were a bunch of items that they had addressed. Have we acted on that yet?
Nothing's been acted on. Haven't got a lot of time. That's something we'll use as fill-in work toward the end of the year. During the summer, it gets quite busy and working around weather. You know, we get weather like this, we can start acting on it. I think I spoke with you on the 15th on Creek Road about it. When I spoke with him, it was nothing urgent he was worried about. He just wanted to know that we would, and he didn't even say it was necessary, but to have insurance, he would like to see it addressed.
Do we have any intentions of hiring a fourth MEO for this winter or this year?
Always have intentions. I would like to do a couple part-times, but again, it has not been addressed. We have had applicants. Just
Have you interviewed any of the applicants yet?
I spoke to them. I'll call them on the phone or whatever and speak to them, and I'll review their applications. We've had applicants, quite a few without CDLs, wanting to get CDLs, wanting to know if we would entertain helping them get it. If they come in as a laborer, because of being MEO, you have to have a CDL. To come into a labor and try to work into it, the pay's not there, the pay scale's not there to bring them in as a labor. As a labor, they can, mow and drive the light truck without a CDL and stuff like that, but I think our current rate is minimum wage still. So that hasn't been very inviting.
Have we gotten any estimate for the damages that were done out back when those bollards were hit? I talked to Allstate today and talked to their claims people. They haven't received any sort of a estimate for damages
No,
done
and
there.
so those claims generally don't run out for a year, is what I've been told when I talk to them. But no, I haven't had time to actually sit down and figure it out. It's gonna be over $1,000. There's $500 in asphalt out there, just a little bit under. You probably got, with 3 guys, by the time they prepped it, the trucking, and out there, they've got, with 3 guys, total of 16 hours between 3 guys and working on it and putting the bollards back. So I just gotta come up with the figures and put it together.
Regarding the Hulberton Road Cemetery, kudos to you guys, kudos to the Highway Department for getting out there. I know you worked with the county on getting a cherry picker out there and mini excavator out there to get that cleaned up. It looks so much better than what it did, and, the board would like to give you guys kudos for getting it taken care of. So thank you. Anything else from the board? Any questions?
I just want to say nicely done on the cemetery. You guys are working your butts off and made a lot of progress. I know there were some hiccups, but it seemed to go well, and I think the Historic Society is very thankful, and they want to do some work and some kind of commendation or something next summer, August, I think, for the celebration of the ending of the Civil War and the signing of the end of the war. So I believe that's in August, right, Raymond? Thereabouts?
I'm not sure, it never ended for me yet.
Okay.
But I'd also like to thank everybody for cleaning up that cemetery, because Melissa Ehrlich has been with us one night, checked it out in August, and it was really bad shape. I think there's 15 vines and trees.
Mm-hmm.
We want to get pictures of cleanup that goes on, we're thrilled. So thanks to everybody who's gotten involved.
And I think in our defense, and I think Ed might be able to give us a timer or whatnot on, but the county or the town didn't take ownership of that land just a few years back, so,
Access to it was landlocked.
okay.
Previous owners, it was,
And once the property
since
was,
then, and I think it was like 18 and 19,
yeah,
the laws changed. Kurt and myself, we were able to negotiate. When we did that, even Boy Scout, who was surprised to clean it up.
It's got a nice access path.
Well, that was all part of the deal.
yeah,
They were pretty specific with the line that they were going to give us.
Right.
Very accommodating.
and the landowner there is very appreciative also. I spoke with Tony, he's very happy, that it's getting cleaned up and some of the overhanging trees that were, impeding his property and threatening his buildings have been taken care of, so kudos to you guys.
Thank you, guys.
Highway Department and both the county and the town.
There's 152 burials there. We're working on a book of alcohol here, so I'd like to keep some photographs of it.
I took some as they were working on it, and obviously whatever state it's in now, we can go back and get some shots. And I think there's probably still work to be done, but it's remarkable what was accomplished, so.
Do you know when the town took the ownership of it?
It's right on the deed.
I've got a copy, yeah, I got a copy of the deed of the property. It has no date on it, and I spent 45 minutes at the county clerk's. They can't find a transfer from the previous owner to the town, but the town has a deed.
We have an
So
easement.
they were, yeah,
I have
I've
a
got that.
resolution.
We don't own it, we have an easement already. We don't own it.
Right.
We
An
don't own
easement
the
to go on
property?
it.
But we have to put in that easement.
Right.
So the problem with not owning it, according to the state, that's a privately owned cemetery. Privately owned cemeteries, family owned, we have no business being on. So I don't know, I'm trying to find out, but if we own it or not,
That's not my understanding. Any abandoned cemetery is a town's responsibility.
abandoned with a board of directors, but they told me that in 1991, they researched all the cemeteries in New York, and that was still a privately owned, family-owned cemetery, and the town has no obligation to help in the upkeep or take over the cemetery. So I was a little bit, well, there's a common courtesy, so I'm trying to get to the bottom of, so that the town, I'm not getting in trouble, and the town's not getting in trouble, but, with the cleanup of that cemetery, it was a mess. It's old, very old, the trees are old. We had ash die off, the ash borer bug come in. So, yeah, we're in there, and it's not the first time we've been in there. 2 years ago, we went in and sprayed it, and it looked great, overkill. The county had a bucket truck. It's a logistical challenge to work around the headstones and cut the trees down in the canopy. There's a lot of widowmakers in there to address the cemetery, a lot of widowmakers in there. So when I got a phone call from the resident, I forget who it was I talked to, they lived there. I was gonna put it on the list because I knew the county did their tree service, shared services, spring and fall. So, and I spoke to them and said, it's late in the spring. We won't be getting into it as a project, and it's gonna be a logistical challenge to get in there. The county bought a super basket boom tract. It widens out, it goes down to 3 feet, which really, really helped getting in there. Then the canopy with the leaves on the trees, we waited for the leaves, so us going in and cleaning up wasn't because of what was said at the September 15th meeting. It was always going to be on the agenda, and I spoke to someone at the county highway about it way back in the spring. So, to get some of this off the table, to address that and address concerns, there should be an open chain of communication if you get a call from a resident, and if the highway department's supposed to take care of that cemetery and we don't know what has transpired, I would like the ability to inform the board or supervisor of what has been talked about before they go out and work in the cemetery. Going out and working in the cemetery as a board member and taking any, of my opinion away from it, that if you don't talk to me and I say it's not safe to go in there and I don't put employees in there for a reason, and then you go out there and work in there, it takes any legitimacy away from us, and you don't even know why we didn't go in there right away. We wanted to work our way in there. We already had an employee get hit in the head, get a concussion, go to the hospital for it, also receive a cut to his face with his safety gear on for cutting. So at that point, if I put somebody back in there and we don't do it the proper way, and somebody gets injured or killed, who's responsible for putting them in there? Me. So going out there without talking to me and going in there is the board. If the highway department's in charge of taking care of that cemetery, is the town supervisor and board going outside of their scope of work and their duties as councilmen and going in there, are they covered by insurance? Or if something happens running the power equipment and not knowing, because you don't know when something's going to come down, and there's plenty of widow makers in there. So
I think right now,
You
it's
know-
water over the dam. You guys
Well-
went in there, cleaned it all up.
hold on a second,
Yeah,
Neil, please.
sure.
There have been comments made on September 15th, and this needs to be clarified, because there's no other way to talk about this. And we'll address it later. But just to clarify the agenda, usually public comment, after the public comment's done, you ask to end public comment, correct? When it's all done, number 10, you'll have public comment pertaining to resolutions and agenda items. So I'm down the bottom for public comment to talk about September 15th. So, and I don't want to drag the meeting out any longer than it needs to be, but if I make a comment and somebody out here in the public wants to make a comment, are you going to allow them to comment on my public comment?
I agree with that.
I want to clarify that.
Absolutely.
I find that to be kind of a stunt to squelch, because if they want to comment, you're going to say public comment was already over and ended. So I
No,
find that to
we're
be a
fine
bit
with anybody
intentional.
commenting.
So I just want to clarify, will they be able to comment after?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. I'm done with my water and highway unless you have any other questions.
Anything else? Justice Court. Mike, I've got your report. I don't know if you want to make it yourself or...
Yeah. I just pass that to Mike.
There you go, Mike.
All right, for September of '25, we had 149 vehicle and traffic cases, 29 penal law, and 8 civil and evictions. We collected $2,713 of fines and surcharges, almost double and tripling all the previous months. Been having a problem with our card readers that I'm in the middle of getting taken care of. We've been handing out the little cards with the symbol for the all paid, so they can scan it to their phone. But I still don't like not being able to take the money in here, because I think it reduces 50% of the ability to collect the money when they walk out. So hopefully I'll have that resolved by tomorrow. Our court is sending out old unpaid fines even from the previous justice accounts. Maria says our fines for October already collected has already surpassed the $2,700. So we're having a lot of success retrieving a lot of unpaid fines from years before. To the point where I have 65 cases this coming Wednesday, and 26 of them are going to be appearances for old unpaid fines. So we're going to be getting a lot of money, so that's working out pretty good. So that's it.
Very good. Appreciate it, Mike. County Legislator, Mr. Morgan.
The only thing I have is, not heartwarming, we're working on the county budget, and after 3 cuts with department heads, we're still $5 million shortfall, and we're meeting again Wednesday. I don't know if the general public or even some of the towns know, but the towns can override the tax cap with basically a slap on the hand. If the county overrides the tax cap, we get financially penalized. And I'm just gonna use this $5 million we're short this year. If we were to override the tax cap, and it has to be done by a supermajority, not for the $5 million, we would actually have to raise the taxes 6.5, because the county, through different DSS and other mental health programs, penalizes us and takes away what they've already given us. So a lot of people say, well, you need to override the tax cap. Well, it's not that easy, you know, because you're actually borrowing money that they would have been giving you if you didn't. So the only places we can cut is public safety, and that's the sheriff and EMS and highway. So, but I'm sure we'll get through it somehow. Anybody got questions for legislators, now that I gave you great news?
I got one question.
But we're doing our best.
Thank you. I've been getting monthly reports from the Department of Agriculture and Markets about our facility for animal control in the county. They've been citing the same violation month after month after month. So I reached out to the Department of Ag and Markets to see what was going on, and apparently it's the guillotine doors that are there that must separate the kennels from the inside structure where the animals stay. And again, it's been a repeated violation. I've been getting these letters every month for practically the 2 years that I've been here.
We have been updating every month. New roofs, new paint, new this, new that. It's just, and that again, that comes out of local tax dollars. So when it comes out, that has to be addressed, and it can't be addressed all at once. That money gets pulled from some other program. So, but we are working on that. I know they've done quite a bit of work up there this year.
Very good.
Anybody else? Let it fly.
Thanks, man. Public comments as it pertains to resolution agenda items. Any public comments pertaining to any of our resolutions or agenda items? If not, I'm going to go into new business. First on the agenda is the joint youth recreation agreement among the Village of Holly, the towns of Murray and Clarendon, and Holly Central School District. Can I get a motion and a second to approve the joint youth recreation agreement amongst those municipalities?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Mr. Lang, second by Mr. Valentine. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Second under new business is a resolution in support of Congressman Nick Langworthy's Energy Choice Act and in opposition to government-mandated natural gas bans. There's a lot to say right there. But in short, I'm sure everybody's heard, they're trying to go electric. Everybody's getting rid of natural gas. Sounds like, I think, any new homes built starting maybe next year, I think.
January 1st.
No more natural gas, they all have to be electric. Yep. So, Congressman Nick Langworthy's office reached out to all of the municipalities in New York State to see if we could pass a resolution in favor or in opposition to these government-mandated natural gas bans. So, I said absolutely. I think most of the towns, most of the counties here in New York State are opposing these natural gas bans. So, with that, I would like to read this resolution, HR 3699, in opposition to government-mandated natural gas bans, whereas affordable and reliable energy is essential to the health, safety, and economic prosperity of New York families, businesses, and communities. And whereas natural gas remains a dependable, cost-effective, and clean-burning energy source used by millions of New Yorkers to heat their homes, cook their food, and power their businesses. And whereas in 2019, New York State enacted the Climate Leadership and Community Protection Act, which mandates aggressive emissions reductions and serves as the foundation for sweeping energy restrictions, including efforts to phase out natural gas. And whereas, building on a CLCPA, Governor Kathy Hochul and the New York State Legislature in 2023 enacted provisions in the state budget banning natural gas and other fossil fuel hookups in most new residential and commercial buildings, effective 2026 for smaller buildings and for 2029 for larger buildings, thereby eliminating consumer choice and limiting access to affordable energy. And whereas Governor Hochul has publicly supported these bans and related measures as part of her administration's climate and energy agenda, despite widespread concerns that such mandates will increase costs, strain grid reliability, and restrict energy diversity, and whereas these top-down policies undermine affordability, threaten reliability during peak demand, and strip away the freedom of consumers and businesses to choose the energy sources that best meet their needs. And whereas Congressman Nick Langworthy of New York and Senator Jim Justice of West Virginia introduced the Energy Choice Act, federal legislation that ensures state and local governments cannot restrict consumer access to natural gas and other affordable energy sources, thereby protecting freedom of choice for New Yorkers and all Americans. And whereas the Energy Choice Act would safeguard households, small businesses, hospitals, farmers, and manufacturers from harmful government overreach, and preserve access to an all-of-the-above energy strategy that strengthens reliability and affordability. Now, therefore, be it resolved that Town of Murray, Orleans County, strongly supports the Energy Choice Act as introduced by Congressman Langworthy and Senator Justice, and stands firmly opposed to New York State's natural gas bans, the CLCPA-driven restrictions, and other state energy mandates that eliminate consumer choice. And be it further resolved that the name Town of Murray, Orleans County Board urges Congress to pass the Energy Choice Act to defend consumer choice, protect energy affordability, and preserve reliable access to natural gas for New Yorkers. And be it further resolved that copies of this resolution be sent to Congressman Nick Langworthy, Senator Jim Justice, the New York Congressional Delegation, Senators Chuck Schumer and Kirsten Gillibrand, Governor Kathy Hochul, and leadership of the New York State Legislature. So with that, I am asking for a motion and a second from our town board to approve that. A motion by Mr. Valentine, second by Mr. Christ. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Yeah. Second, third on new business is a resolution adopting local law number 2 of 2025, quote, establishing a 12-month moratorium on applications, approvals, and/or construction or installation on solar energy systems and/or solar farms, end quote. Can I get a motion and a second to adopt that resolution? Motion by Mr. Lang, second by Mr. Christ. All in favor? Aye. We need a roll call vote on that. Mr. Valentine? Aye. Mr. Christ?
Aye.
Mr. Lang?
Aye.
Mr. Reitmeyer? Aye. Motion carried. On here, we have appointing deputy town supervisor on the new business. I'm going to table that for tonight. We need to discuss that a little bit more at length. We need to find somebody here to be our deputy town supervisor, so the board's going to discuss that, and we'll have to put our heads together and figure out a plan to make that happen. So I'm going to table that for tonight. Any old business that anybody would like to discuss? Yep. Actually, with that, we'll go into the public comment section. Actually, you may want to give that to Dirk, so.
Sorry.
So I'd like to address the September 15th meeting, the comments that the supervisor made, his opinions, his factual statements, and so on. And I don't know exactly where to begin. I wanted to spend more time on this. I've been thinking about it for a long time. We're trying to take care of town business, health, other things. You get distracted, and there's so many things to address since I've been working here between two supervisors. It gets very confusing. But there's one thing in common. I think one thing in common is trust. And so I really don't know where to begin. I'm just going to start off talking about the first topic. And the first thing you said in the meeting pertaining to the Highway and Water Department, of your disappointment in the Highway and Water Department. Your opinion on, their ability to perform the work or take care of all the tasks that the town has. I realize that you have an opinion, but there's times and places to do things. I find it to be, you need to have your facts, and to make these statements without talking to me, even notifying me that I'm not here to address them and still continue on and spend the amount of time you did is just, it's unprofessional. I mean, there's a bunch of words for it. Irresponsible, reckless. It kind of wrecks our image and what we're trying to build and do to the public. And it's really hard to get that back after it's been done. And I can't stress how reckless this was. And your disappointment it's more with me, I believe, than the highway guys in the highway department, but they got drug into it. And to politicize the highway department, it's a month and a half before an election. I just can't, I can imagine why. But we addressed the cemetery, was the second thing you brought up, and how it was in total disarray. That didn't happen overnight. The town, whether they own it, don't own it, it is old. 1835 is what the New York State told us is when it was started, their burials or whatever formed. And again, if I was talked to or asked questions before any of this happened, and there was communication from the supervisor to me, especially after, I want to stress, we spent, I'll say, all of 20 minutes on Creek Road, September 15th in the afternoon. We were putting blacktop down on Creek Road, and he came down and talked to me, and I went over a lot of things. Cemetery wasn't one of them, but it could have been brought up. It was a safety issue, that's my call. There was talk to a local municipality about going in and spraying again. And we were formulating a plan on what to do, and I knew I was going to be going in there probably in the fall and doing work. So again, the statement of not having the facts and not talking to the highway superintendent on what he has plans for that and asking prior to making statements on meeting are just, it's just irresponsible not to have the proper information or know your facts before you make statements. The placarding my truck. The truck is technically placarded in some way and labeled. You did make the comment that it's on the license plate. The license plate has numbers. It says the town of Murray. And some years ago, the state came up with, I don't know why, municipalities, I don't know, fire departments, but counties and such, all their plates went from just a standard plate. When I came into this position, the truck I started driving just had an ordinary license plate on it. It didn't identify it, so the truck was placarded. The truck I got is new. It got new plates. It is identified, and I know people know who I am and where I'm going because it's been talked about. I do not have a problem placarding the truck. I have reached out to somebody to do it, here and there. I gotta get it for other equipment too, not just that one. It hasn't been done. I don't find it to be a high priority compared to the other things that we are doing in town. And when we have weather conditions changing, winter coming up, it is to my discretion, the workload and the organization or the timeline of the workers doing the work. So I don't have a problem doing it. You act like I have a problem doing it. And I sat in your office and told you one day, I really don't have a problem with it. I'm not trying to hide anything. But I did reach out to the other 10 towns and put a text out last year. How many towns are actually placarded? The highway superintendents are placarded. I believe it was 8. I'm not going to dig up the text, but I could if you need to and give it to you later. I believe it was 8 towns are not placarded. They're not required to have it on their door, and nobody says anything. And the county isn't as of yet for the supervisors, I believe, from what I can see. The voucher, you feel that it's my job to do the annual water quality report. I participate in gathering the information. I'm not good with Excel programs and such. I'm not a clerical person or a clerk. When I came into office, that was always done. I followed suit. It was done by the clerk. And we continued doing that. I went into your office the Monday after I hired the prior clerk to help that weekend, put it together and finalize it and submit it to the health department, and notified you what I had done because it needed to be done by that week. I believe it was a Wednesday. It needed to be to the Department of Health, New York State Department of Health. So it was kind of urgent that we get it done, and I notified you of that. So I did hire a person, didn't put them on the payroll. They invoiced us. It was $300. The pettiness of this, I just can't believe. It was $300. Now, if the clerk that didn't resign stayed, she was prepared to do it. And we were waiting for some information from the Water Authority because they had to correct it according to Department of Health, New York State Department of Health. They had to correct something. We were waiting for that information to come to us, so we couldn't put a final draft together. Whether the clerk I hired to finish it did it, or a clerk that was employed by the town on the payroll did it, we still had to pay somebody. At $20 an hour, I'm just guessing there wouldn't be a big separation between $300 and whatever it took for the existing clerk that was there previously to do that work at $20 an hour. If they spent 5 hours on it, there's $100 right there. So the difference would be $200. I don't see the justification of bringing this to light when I was actually accomplishing something and trying to keep the town from getting a violation or a penalty, and made that decision. So the Ballards estimate, that's done and over with. It wasn't high priority. We have roads versus Ballards in the back parking lot. Creek Road, other jobs, chip and sealing roads, water main repairs, service repairs, parking lot to get ready, and all the incidental things that come up. And I didn't bring the list of all the things we did, but I could recite them off of just the things we do on a weekly basis sometimes. We had at one point got 37 stakeouts coming in one day. Now, all of them don't necessarily have to be done because there might not be any conflict, but we still have to respond. The fire behind the building, this one's pretty important, the fire behind the building, the mulch smoldering. You showed me a video of a law enforcement vehicle not far from the building, watching the smoke. You felt that they could have seen it. We could see it on the video you showed me going up. You looked at our surveillance cameras going up the side of the building. So you knew what day, what time it happened. We talked about it. After a Republican committee meeting here, the building on a Saturday morning, I believe it was, smelled of smoke, really strong smoke. So I walked out back and I looked out the door and went around, and you could see all the mulch had burnt. We finished our meeting. I forget why, but I went to the back door. I don't know if somebody came in and said something or I just went back out. And on video, it will show I stood in the doorway with a paper in my hand. I did not touch the siding on the building. To make a statement of fact that I took something off the building, put it nails up, unsafe for 10 days, again, get your facts straight. A month and a half before an election seems kind of strange. How much time you spent on me in the highway and discrediting all of us. Pretty irresponsible. Creek Road. It was put in a letter to me that I gave Lloyd a little while ago. I consider it a disciplinary letter. I think it was in December of 2024 about me not doing my job. In there it was about Creek Road. I probably could have, we waited, we ordered the pipe, 60-inch pipe. It took the time that it took to get and delivered here. By the time it got here and we got involved in other work, I made the choice on when to do it. I put road plates on the crack in the road to make that safe. Then it was brought up that it was still unsafe. Winter was coming, didn't feel that we would get through it. Wet season, didn't want to deal with water in whether it's not a navigable creek, it's just a runoff, but it flows water certain times a year. I chose not to do it. And we ended up closing the road. We did get to it this year and completed it, waited for the rainy season to end, and got the mowing for the cemeteries and whatnot under control, and we tackled it. A week after I started that, and I was down there working on the 4th of July weekend myself to get it done. The week after, it dried up and we ended up going into a drought, and I pulled the pumps out for bypassing the water so that we could work and it wouldn't be such a mess. But it actually worked out good. Again, I'm scheduling it, and I did keep in communication. I felt of the progress, and I did inform you of why, because it was brought up before, why it wasn't done. And then we were waiting, the end sections came in at a different time. They didn't come in with a pipe, they come from a different supplier. I wanted to do it all at once we're set up down there. The other thing that brought to my attention was that somebody didn't like their name, the contractor that you reached out to didn't really appreciate his name being mentioned because he is not the contractor we have a contract with. We have a contract with County Limestone through the county bid process. He didn't appreciate that. You had told me on Creek Road that you reached out to him. I'd spoke to this gentleman. He didn't know why. He didn't know whether to address you on the topic or me to address it. And I said, I'll take care of it. I didn't think there would be any other problems or communication, and there ended up being communication. Am I taking care of the parking lot, or are you taking care of the parking lot? Again, you didn't come to me other than I have addressed whether it could be done. There seems to be a trust issue whether I know what I'm talking about, and I'll touch base with that in a little bit. But it's an ongoing theme. If people aren't going to take my advice or recommendations, then it becomes very obvious there's a trust issue. So I handled that with that contractor, I felt, and then there was an issue later on. It continued, and so the parking lot's not being done right now, but it should be able to be done in the spring. If we get our house in order, was the words that were used. So, then the water. Your remarks about, making money, you don't know if we're making money in the water or not. You don't know where we're at, and it bothers you. I remember you coming out your first year in office and saying, congratulations, the water department made $50,000 or $51,000. Then it happened a second year in a row. The first year I was here, it broke even. I don't know where we were because it's just said and rumors get spread. I never checked into how much the water was losing or not. But I know there was a water loss issue. We worked diligently. We fixed 13 leaks the first year we were here, and the majority of them were found they were not exposing themselves. I would have to ask, do you know the first thing that you do to look for leaks or indicators of leaks, or where would you start if you're so knowledgeable at it?
Are you looking for a response?
Yeah.
You might want to listen for a water leak. Would that be one way to do it?
Would that be the first one you do?
One
So
of the
is that
ones.
proactive or reactive? So
No,
I can see we're struggling a little bit. Most of your leaks are probably reactive. In your spare time, you're gonna go out and listen for leaks, call for help to try to listen for leaks. You know you got a leak, you got a problem, you call. The first thing you're gonna call is Rural Water and see if you can get free service and see if they can correlate it. Plastic's very difficult. Ductile cast, easier. But
to answer your question, the one thing I would look at is, what are we paying for water on a regular basis?
good one.
So when you go from 163,000 gallons in District 1 to over 1 million gallons in District 1, you got to say to yourself, something's not right. So I would think that you'd explore what's going on.
Yep. And I'm glad you said that, because you also made the comment that it was over 2 million gallons. So, and I've said you wanted a water report. It came to my attention that you tried to task somebody in the building to do a water report without any input from me, but I told you a
No,
water
actually, that's
report.
not true, because I gave
Okay.
Patty Knapp, our
Okay.
current water clerk, a list of things that I was looking for
Yep.
in order to do that.
Yep.
And I've heard nothing from anybody on it. Nothing.
So apparently it went to Patty. Patty didn't know what to do with it. It came to me. I didn't know what it pertained to, but then after I heard this information, it started making sense. That it wasn't supposed to come to me because somebody that was there said, that wasn't intended for Dirk.
No, I gave
So-
it to her to give to you.
Here
Absolutely.
nor there, you made the statement of $2 million. Oh, and when it comes to checking the bills, you're absolutely right. So we'll go to another thing. My recommendation was not to move the clerk out of my office on this side of the building because we work closely together. I don't get the bills in my office anymore, and I don't know when they come, but I do go check. But the water bills, other towns get late on their water bills sometimes too. So by the time I got a water bill and I saw it, it was already over a month old. So if you use the water bill only, and it's in a district that we don't have charts for to read the meter pit on the Badger system, it's on the computer, we rely on the bills. You're absolutely right. The only reason you went to the bill to look at it was numbers shocked people. And you wanted to make a point on how much water we went through and how badly we managed finding a leak or looking for a leak. We had been looking for a leak when it was smaller and couldn't locate. We weren't positive. With a drought and whatnot, we didn't know if water consumption went up. It got bad quick. So, you made a comment of over 2 million gallons. I said, I don't trust your report because I don't trust the information that we have. But somebody wants it anyways. I said, good or bad, if you're gonna look at a report and you look at it and it's great and you go, wow, we're doing great, I wouldn't trust it. If it's bad, I wouldn't trust it. If I do an annual report, we might narrow in. If you do a quarterly report, you might have a 50% loss. By the end of the year, if you correct it, say you end up with a 15% loss. Those numbers, when you look at them, you can say, wow. In the end, at the end of the year is when it really, really matters. But we got a credit, from Holly. During a review of the water meter readings, this is dated October 9th, 2025, is when I got it. It came to us October 7th. During a water review, meter readings, I identified a discrepancy in the water read input to your statements dated July 31st of 2025 through August 31st, 2025, and into September of 2025. These incorrect readings resulted in an overbilling during that period, yet you run with the information, make a statement to the public prior to an election, and spend all this time, and it's all incorrect information instead of waiting. We have a $5,570 credit, which computes approximately to 1.1 or 1.2 million gallons that we're billed for that did not get lost.
Can you just tell me what the amount was again?
The
1,500?
the dollars?
No, the dollars.
Yeah, $5,570.46.
Thank you.
So again, I find it irresponsible and reckless to make the statements you're making, especially when you put out to the public that I'm doing something that I did not do, when you have a surveillance camera you can look at, and then you say I did a good job raking the mulch away. And I have to wonder, I don't know if you looked at the camera and saw I raked the mulch away, or someone told you, or you saw me one day. But you used the video camera, the surveillance, to see the sheriff and find out when the smoke was going up the side of the building, but you fail to look and see who actually took the siding off the building. I just find that, I just can't believe this. And you're in charge of our finances and the supervisor's position. Now, I didn't want to go there, but after all these topics, it's hard to not go there. So, and if we weren't taking care of it, why did we have a profit? And I was told, and then since you've been here in 2024, I've asked for I thought we used to call it, I think they changed the name of it, as an AUD, the Annual Audit Report, or whatever the abbreviations or whatever for, they've changed the name. You don't know what it is, but it gets turned in by a certain time, there's a specified time it gets turned into the state and signed by the supervisor. And that tells the town financially where it ended the year. So I have yet to know where we ended 2024 because there's a lack of communication. And I'm sorry, there's a lack of communication specifically this year. I don't get agendas. I had to go get the agenda from out there. I don't get monthly financial statements sent to me. I don't get any emails pertaining to whether a meeting is being held workshop-wise. It just says on a calendar, if needed. But all the board members get it. Shame on me for not reaching out and asking, because I know that'll come up. I'm just trying to prove a point here. I am an elected official.
I don't know what point you're trying to prove,
Well,
because
that there's a communication issue. You don't see that?
I sent you a text message on September 28th notifying you of the tentative budget meeting on Monday, the 29th. you gave me a thumbs up. I'm thinking, okay, you got my message, he's gonna be there. 9 o'clock rolls around, where's Dirk? Don't know. Cindy and I sat with our accountants for 3 hours going over our budget. Never a phone call, never a text, never an email, nothing. Crickets. Now, the highway department is the biggest portion of our town budget. You would think after I notified the town highway superintendent via text with a response, with a thumbs up, that he'd show up to the budget meeting. Didn't happen. So this notion of lack of communication on my behalf is laughable.
So what was the date on that?
Well, I can pull
No,
it
no,
out.
no, 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 you just stated, you just said it right on the mic. What was the
No,
date?
We'll pull it out.
No,
If you wanna
repeat the
quibble
date, you
about
just said
dates-
it.
If you want to quibble about dates, I'll go to it.
No, that's not what I'm asking.
No.
I'll give you the date. It was the 21st, and you said it's the 28th, I believe, and you sent me an email saying the 28th. So, the 28th. There's more than one way to construe this, and I wasn't talking about this meeting. I'm talking about throughout the year. Okay? This one specifically, you're right, you sent me a text on the 21st. Okay? Dirk, I don't remember if I sent you an email or not, but we have a budget meeting on Monday the 29th at 9 a.m. with our accountant. If you have your budget sheets ready, you can give them to Cindy and she can send them into LGSS ahead of the meeting. You were gone hunting, I believe, or something on vacation, whatever. I sent them in to LGSS and Cindy. I don't know if you call that an actual invite or just a notice. You didn't know if you sent it to me, but yeah, I didn't come.
I mean,
I feel that the chain of command and the way it worked in the past was I got it via email. So, here or there, yes, you did do it. I gave you a thumbs up because I sent it or was sending the information for the budget, so I did do the budget. And I did talk to the accountant pertaining to questions.
but you need to be at the meeting so that when the accountant asks the questions, you're able to answer the questions during the meeting. That was the whole point.
Again, the lack of communication and follow through, and again, you'll divert it to me. I'm making a point on how things are run up here, and they are not run consistent or correct. It's just an example. This is the first year that this has been a problem, and it's strange, it's an election year, but whatever.
This has nothing to do with an election. It has
Ah, boy,
everything to do with somebody.
I don't know about that one.
I do. So I'm going to go to the cemetery. I'm going to talk a little bit about the cemetery. Okay? I don't tell Dirk when to plow the roads. I think that's something that, as a highway superintendent, you know how to do, right? I don't call him up and say, hey, don't forget to plow the roads. The cemetery is something that our town guys are charged with doing. I didn't get one complaint. I got 3 complaints. And when I went out to the cemetery, I couldn't believe how poor it looked. It was an absolute jungle. I was actually embarrassed. I'm thinking, why aren't our guys taking care of this? They take care of all the other cemeteries, sans Sandy Creek. And it wasn't a matter of just getting it done this year, because it wasn't done last year either. And I'm scratching my head wondering, why wasn't it done last year? I don't know. So then we'll go to the placarding of the truck. You're right, I sent you a letter in December. I also had you in my office in January, talked to you face to face. You said, no problem, I'll have it done. Now, I didn't harp on you every month asking you to placard the truck, but I do feel from a transparency standpoint, when people see that truck going up and down the road, they'd like to know if it's the town of Murray or not. Can't see the license plate, not unless you're right behind them. So it's just about transparency, and that's all that was. Just be transparent.
I don't have a problem with that. I didn't tell you I would do it right away. I said it was not a high priority.
I know, it's not a high priority, because I talked to you in January, and now we're in October, and it's still not a high priority.
So, to be clear, our vehicle use policy states clearly that the superintendent's truck does not need to be placarded.
But you told me face-to-face, man-to-man, I'll take care of it. So whether that says it or not, you agreed to have it done. So that's my point.
So that was in 2024, right?
With respect to the annual water quality report, thank you, Kelly, for taking care of that.
Jerry,
Thank you.
that was in December, in 2024, right?
What was in December 2024?
That you said I talked to you or whatever.
The
You
letter
said-
I
you
sent
sent
you
the
was in
letter,
December
right, and then we
24.
talked. So, if it was such an issue, why didn't the town board change the vehicle use policy, just say that all town vehicles?
No, it was
have to be-
handled. We talked face-to-face,
No.
man-to-man. You said you'd take care of it. I didn't want to
No.
bother with it anymore. Why would I need to talk to the board about it?
So back to the cemetery, okay? That was sprayed and absolutely dead by the following year. There was nothing to maintain ground-wise. It was dead, and the people were happy.
They weren't
So-
happy when they called me this year, I'll tell you that. It wasn't just them.
Last year, to be clear, it was dead. So, the cemetery, to be clear, is not a mowable cemetery. There's no mowing about it. There's no grass. There's no, if you want to go in
You needed
and wreck.
you needed a
listen,
bush hog to go
yeah,
through there.
And if you
couldn't
want to wreck
possibly
a
mow it.
mower, if you want to wreck a mower, you'll wreck a mower in there. It's not mobile. Bush hog, yeah, understand, but there's headstones all over the place. So, it is handwork, it was dangerous, and you want to express how bad it was, you're right, it was bad. It didn't happen overnight.
You're right there.
So, again, we need to find out the logistics, we need some communication. There was only one reason all this was done, and you're not gonna convince me otherwise about it.
With respect to the
So-
parking lot job this year, let me interject if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
Last year, we had a contract signed by County Limestone in December of '24 to do this parking lot job. $158,000 and change. More than half of the ARPA money that we got awarded during COVID is to be used for this project. We were told it was going to be done this year. We had the absolute perfect weather in July, August, and September to do this parking lot. And for some reason, it didn't get done. So, the contractor who was doing the paving called me.
That's incorrect.
That's not incorrect. He
You know
called
what
me.
most certainly is, you called him first.
I called him to see if we could actually get the job done this year because I was worried it was getting so late in the year that we weren't going to get to it. And unfortunately, that's exactly what happened. So I actually called him, and he actually called me. To be clear, I had sent an email to Dirk and the board, a private email, which Dirk then shared with the contractor with a very derogatory comment that totally pissed off the contractor to the point that he said, "Jerry, I am not doing this job for the town of Murray.
Who sent
I'm
a
not dealing with
derogatory
it."
comment?
I'm not going to say his name because I want to keep his name private.
Wait, no, I'm just,
Who said it, comment?
who sent the,
You did.
I sent the comment?
Yes,
Derogatory.
yes. And I believe,
What was
if I could
derogatory about it?
remember, it's something to the effect of, "What a kick in the nuts. Thanks," to the contractor. The contractor called, actually Pete Helchie called me up from County Limestone. He said, "Yeah, I just got off the phone with the contractor. He ain't doing the job. He ain't ever doing the job because he's so upset with what he said, he's out." So guess what? Now we're out. So the job's not going to get done this year. And to add insult to injury, Pete Hilchey from County Limestone says, "Yeah, that job might be a little bit more money next year after we already had a purchase order and a contract signed." So if it had been done this year, when we planned and when you told us it would be done, we wouldn't have to worry about it. But here we are in October, supposed to actually been started today. But due to the weather, it wasn't going to start anyways, and it wasn't going to start anyways because this whole issue got basically sabotaged.
I want to interject something here. Okay, I don't know if it's okay I can or whatever. but
Absolutely.
When I decided to join this town board, it wasn't for me, it wasn't for Dirk, it wasn't for Jerry, okay? It was for the town. And this is very frustrating for me to sit here and see this, okay? It's very frustrating. We can sit here for the next 3 hours and debate stuff of who did what, who didn't do what. The number one thing we need to do is improve communication and fix the culture in this town. We don't have too many people in this town. I mean, working for the town, we have highway department guys that work their butts off all day long. I have brothers that do it. I know what they do. They get called at 3 a.m. to go salt the roads and leave their families. Okay? We have people up here on the board that we're not doing it for the money. All right? We got Dirk over there that's got to also work with us and them. It's tough to bring it all together. Okay? Dirk's an elected official, Jerry's an elected official. All right? The responsibility that we have is to the townspeople. And this, to me, is frustrating. This can't continue. Because we can sit here, like I said, for 3 more hours. And I can just sit back and let this happen. And I'm not going to let that happen without saying something. All right? The communication has got to get better. We have to fix the culture no matter what we have to do. Even if it's little things like meeting once a week for a half an hour, not on the side of the road for 20 minutes. You know, setting time aside, getting a system in place for communication that's consistent. I mean, I'm not going to solve all the problems up here right now, but I think I'm speaking on behalf of the people in this community that they don't want to see this.
So thank you for saying that.
That's all
I
I'm saying.
agree.
So do I.
And unfortunately, it was going on before Scott came here. The breakdown of communication, the finger pointing. I don't want I think the town taxpayers want to know things are being taken care of. So, who's going to be the adult? I don't want to argue, but I feel that I have an opportunity and I should be extended that opportunity to speak my piece without him interjecting anymore. Because number one, you did it without me here and we had talked. You
I
knifed
wish
me in the
you were here at the
back,
board meeting.
listen,
That's the whole
you
point.
knifed me in the back
Wish you were
about
here.
stuff. Rob and I, oops, I used his name, we go way back,
Yeah. I do
okay?
too.
So how I talk to him, not a big deal. There's words
It was a
used.
big deal to him,
Well,
Dirk.
I
It
can
really
have,
was a big
I can
deal.
have County Line Stone call and talk to every single board member, and he will tell you different than what you just said.
I
Okay?
don't know about that. I talked to Pete too, so. I talked to
You
both.
like to say that, but.
Yes, I talked to him. Actually talked.
I ask if you talk to board members and tell them what he told me. He said, absolutely. So there's a little bit of difference in what people are saying, and you're trying to wreck my credibility. So, again, if you did not go behind my back and talk to Rob, none of this would be happening at all. And I think it's a very important note to prove just how much it happens is you had called the Village of Brockport one time when you were chairman and you were running against previous supervisor, and it was toward the end of the year and we had a break in front of a highway worker's house. Took us a while to find. The next day I get a call from the Genesee County Health Department. And Jerry had called the health department. They called me to talk to me about the procedures and whatnot, which we already knew. We didn't do anything wrong. But Jerry had reached out to the Village of Brockport. They told him to call a certain somebody for the procedures and what would be involved as far as the department rules and fixing a water line and whatnot. So he made a phone call. I got a phone call. Well, lo and behold, Jerry had called, got the number for my brother that works for the Village of Brockport and takes care of the water. So there's a pattern of behavior. Instead of trusting the elected official and the person that has a license to operate the water, our supervisor doesn't have a license to run water. So if he wants to run the water, he can go and take all the classes, the lab courses, and do all the tests. I didn't do what the normal procedure is to do the test. I did an open book, an order, and I had to get a certain score on it. Then I had to do a closed book test. Everybody else gets to do an open book test. So I'm, you know, I liked it actually because I had to retain the things in there. So there's a pattern of behavior. You can spin it how you want. I don't want to fight, but I do want the taxpayers to know the truth. And what you say has a lot of holes in it. Rob and I go back a long ways, and we can talk however we want to people. That was a simple, little, short, sweet statement because I told him when you did call him, and I found out, I was told, I said, well, you do know this will get used against me as if I don't have things under control. And we had a long conversation. He goes, no, you know, this is business and that probably won't happen, but that's, you know, on your end with your board. Well, lo and behold, you put in an email that you had to intervene because it was out of control. It may have happened or it may not have, but in the long run, it could be first on the list in the spring, and the money sitting in the bank, it's only going to get interest. So you can spin things a bad way, you can spin them a good way. We only want to look at the negative of things, and you want to portray me as not running the department, maybe incompetent, and then you go after the highway guys. I don't like that, and they didn't appreciate it. And you just tear down the morale, and then the public trust, and it's hard to get back. And the video's gone out, and it's one of the largest watched videos out there of all the videos we had, which is just proof of how it's spreading. And I believe that we're owed a public apology, sincere, and maybe a written one. I'll end it there.
First of all, it's not. Have you asked for public comment yet?
Are you done?
Yeah, I said I was done.
All right.
All right, I think Scott's right. The town doesn't need to hear this. I think what should be done, in my opinion, is the two of you just do emails back and forth. That way, everything's in writing, everybody can see it. It should end it once and for all. The guys in the highway department, I was here the night Jerry said it. I do not believe that he was referring to anybody in the highway department. That's my opinion. That's the way I took it. Now, town board, if you guys need to pass a resolution that every piece of equipment for the town of Murray has to say town of Murray, then pass it. And then it's over with and it's done with. But just because the book says it doesn't and town board wants it done, make a resolution, get it done so we can all move forward. Thank you.
Scott?
Leave right there.
Yeah, might as well leave right there.
Just because the residents and other people in this town are talking crap about the water department, highway department. How is that right? I'm supposed to work, not have to defend myself out there working.
I see it.
We're the joke of the county. I work my ass off for this town, and I have people talking crap about it. How is that right? Whether it was directed at me, him, or anybody, why is it right?
I never said it was right.
Just put my comments right.
It should have went to executive session. And the board, not, Boyd wasn't here, Scott's new, but it should have went to executive session.
Public comment should just be one person.
My name's Barry Strumpel. I've lived in the town of Murray for 36 years. I want you to know I appreciate the work the town of Murray's doing. But also, I watched the board meeting on the 15th, and it appeared to me that it was completely out of respect for a supervisor to be complaining numerous things about another elected official. That should have been done face to face. You had no business being on the internet airing disagreements between you and Dirk. It should not have been there. It should not have happened.
We air all of our meetings on the internet so that people can watch it from home. It
That's not
wasn't done
the
purposely.
point. The point is that particular particular part of what you brought up should not have been discussed without Dirk being there. It was wrong as a supervisor, and I've been trained as a supervisor, did it professionally. It was not the right time to do it. It wasn't the right format. And so it's going to cause a problem automatically. You guys, in my opinion, need to start working as a team. He's not your subordinate. He's an elected official. You have things you want him to do, you sit down, you get a list, you write it up, and then you have a timeline to get stuff done. You want to be a leader, then lead. But don't complain about him behind his back. And that wasn't said with any disrespect.
None taken.
And it's not just this board meeting, town board meeting. I was in a work board meeting, and I know you know I was there.
I remember you leaving.
Neil was there, you were there, Cindy was there, Elaine was there. Something came up in that meeting that I witnessed. I witnessed it sitting next to Lloyd. A paper that was changed. And you admitted that it was Cindy Oliver that typed that up. And I could ask Lloyd
What are you talking about?
a little snippet, we'll call, of the guy's book for this town. For their, what do you call the book?
Employee benefit package, the step process.
I've been working on it.
I
I'm
didn't
still
change
working on it.
anything.
I didn't say you did it, he did. You yelled from your office.
No, I yelled from my office because he said I interfered with something.
He said you did it.
I know he did. That's why I yelled.
And Elaine, if she's still here, she was in that meeting, were you not? And you asked, who wrote this up? And so did Lloyd. And you said it was Cindy. And it was in regards to the guy's pay.
We're still working on that. I have not let that go.
And you said you don't know where the email went that you sent to the lawyer. Jerry, that's a line of crap. Why don't you produce that original email that you sent to the attorney?
This notion that I am not concerned about trying to give back pay to these guys, to Scott and TJ, is just, it's ludicrous. I've been working with Neil on this.
I wouldn't have known about it unless I was there, Jerry. So I'm not lying about what I witnessed. I think this man here will back me up, and so will Elaine. Did that not happen in that meeting?
You were there, yeah.
What's going on here, and this is why I said in the Republican committee that I'm in, and in your little room back there, that's why I want nothing to do with this after 25 years. Because this is not going the right way. This is going south, and this town building is disgusting. Thank you.
Anybody else care to comment?
Yeah, just as a general participant.
Your name?
My name's Jeff Wooden.
Okay.
I worked for the village for 37 years, the village of Brockport. And I would be applaud if my board acted anything like this. I went from labor to superintendent of the water, and then second in charge of the highway. We had work meetings once a week. Superintendent, supervisor, foremans, sit down, discuss what work needs to be done. Simple as that. And you have to understand, sometimes it doesn't happen. Weather, water main breaks, everything gets interrupted. But communication is top of the line.
In fact, you're only here once a week. Yes, Jerry, no, she complained to me about it.
Oh, boy. Anything else?
I wasn't gonna say anything, but, most supervisors, in my experience, are only here one day a week unless there's something special going on, number one. And number two, it is the board's responsibility to address, complaints from residents about anything that's going on in the town. So it would be irresponsible of them not to address it.
So.
That's it.
We're not going back and forth.
Yeah, we can't go back.
If they address that.
Are there any other comments from anybody in the public?
Yeah, I want to.
Okay, please. If you could just state your name.
Just one at a time.
Just close.
This gentleman right here, I don't know his name, but you're absolutely right. I mean, not for nothing, but you're gonna come to me for more taxes soon, and I don't think I need that, but.
You do.
So you're gonna come to me for more taxes soon, and none of this should be happening. We should be working on our town issues. You're absolutely correct. You're absolutely correct. You know, do better, guys. We have to. Otherwise, we're just gonna go down a deep rabbit hole. You know, we're all in it together. So all I say is just do better, and I believe this young man over here is correct. So, but that's all. Good luck.
Anything else?
I want to say one thing. The number of hours you see Jerry here at this building aren't the number of hours he spends here in for this town. There's a lot of hours, a lot of emails, there's a lot of phone calls going on behind the scenes.
Well, obviously, there's not enough.
Please.
There are
Not your
a
time to
lot,
talk.
there are
It's
a
his
lot
time
of
to talk.
hours going on behind the scenes. And I partake in a lot of those hours. And it's of my own time basically, because I'm not here for the money. You know that. It's not, this job doesn't pay a lot. We're here for the community and we're trying to make things gel and work well with everybody. And I think we have a pretty good relationship, other than some of the little bit of dispute that's going on here. Behind the scenes, I think we all get along. We talk, we do communicate. But sometimes there's things said, and I think the community takes and runs with it and makes it difficult for everybody. And that's in the, you know, in the public forum, at the restaurants and, what's that?
I've witnessed it, 25 years of this.
Yeah.
And this is the worst I've seen.
I don't know, I haven't been on board here for several months now.
We have somebody else
And-
to talk.
If you could just
Yeah.
let him just finish it.
Go ahead, I'm pretty much done.
Hi, Angel Perez. I know you guys are having a hard time, and it's been over like a few months, whatever's been going on. Not for nothing, but 8 years ago, a tree was supposed to come down in my front yard, and I was supposed to give the wood to my neighbor, and he's already passed away, so you're talking a few months, we're talking 8 years. You guys gotta be able to squish your issues, you know what I mean? Talk it out. You guys got plenty of time. Believe me. You know, you never know what's gonna end though, but
Where do you live?
you got plenty of time.
Where do you live, sir?
Lake Road. Yeah.
I'm willing to work with anybody, but when someone doesn't come to me to find out what's going on,
I know, but we also, sometimes we just gotta do it, take it upon ourselves to go up to this guy or, you know, to the guy you got an issue with and just say, hey, I need some info or.
Angel, how do I know that it's an issue that gets brought up in a meeting, nobody addresses, nobody comes?
Right, and I mean, that's what I'm saying, you guys, emails, stuff like that, you're leaving a trail of saying that you need to come to a meeting, you're responding to them. That's the same thing with me at work, I'm a traveling nurse, I gotta do the same thing, I gotta write everything, I hate it. I hate computers, and I hate it, you know, to ask anybody, but I do it because I have to do it. You know, and it leaves a trail. That way you could say, hey, I was here, I was there, I did this, I did that. You know what I mean? And they can't question that. So you guys gotta get it done, man, because we look horrible. You know? So, thanks.
Please. Ma'am, you're raising your hand so you can speak.
I don't have a comment, I just have a question. My name's Lee. And I just noticed that it might be very important that you give time to respond to, instead of, I have a meeting and oh, by the way, it's tomorrow morning. Just make sure you give each other time and consideration, because this could get really tough. And I don't think it needs to be that tough if you could plan ahead. That's all. Oh, I'm sorry.
My name is Melissa Colaprati. I just want to say, I know there probably is a lot of great things that are going on at this town, but all the public sees is things that are on Facebook, things that are on Holly Watchdogs. All the comments, all these videos that come out of these hearings where it's all negativity. That's all it is. We don't ever see anything positive. We don't ever see anything positive with our community right now.
Actually, go
At
to
all.
Town of Murray, New York Facebook page. It's a Facebook page that I started and then I add to. There's no comments on that page. It's all good stuff that's happening in the town. There are a lot of people in this room right here that add to Holly Watchdogs, and it's embarrassing, all the comments and the stuff that goes on. It's embarrassing for the town, but if you go to Town of Murray, New York Facebook page, it's a page that I started. It's all positive, good things about the town of Murray.
Okay, I'm just saying in general, that's all we see is negativity. That's all we see. I'd like to see something positive come out of this.
Go ahead, Bob.
My name's Bob Cohn. I worked for the town of Murray for 18 and a half years. I served at other places for 3 years. You see a lot, you know? And I remember when it was nice around here. I can remember when good was really good and bad was really bad. Okay, now let's go back about 8 years ago. A man came to town and he acted like he owned everybody's soul. And if he didn't act like he acted like everybody's soul, then you owed him his soul. And he just brought on this negativity through Facebook. And all this stuff just kept going down. And people just keep eating it up. Oh man, they love it. It's like when I came over here tonight. Do you want to watch the Romance Channel or do you want to watch the MMA? I'd rather watch the MMA. I don't care about the romance. And if it's going on, there's something in the air here. People just love to fight. It's like the good, the bad, and the ugly. Waiting for somebody to just make the wrong move to jump on it. And Facebook and all this other stuff really isn't helping. I think you got to take a little time out, take a breath here. You know, all this fighting and arguing, you'd rather hit the person with the door than hold it open for them just to see what kind of response we can get. Wasn't that something? I think that's got to stop because that's what I'm seeing, you know, the entertainment of it all. I have one question though that I'm really kind of concerned about, old business, this graveyard that we talk about. This graveyard has a history way, way back and we've never touched it, even the 18 and a half years that I was here. It was on private property. It was always private property. I have a man up on 31 in Transit Road. He has private property. Got a big ditch. He's younger than I am by 4 years, but here comes the pizza. Here comes the donuts. Here comes the chicken wings and the soda pop. And man, can you clean my ditch out for me? I'll take care of it once for you. Sure, like Eddie said, you kind of got a little moral obligation here to kind of help the taxpayer. Sure, I'll clean it for you. Next thing you know, here comes more pizza, and here comes more chicken wings, and here comes more donuts. Man, you got to get up on my lawn with that piece of equipment, and you got to do that line over there. You know, I'm not here to be the manicure for your lawn. I tried to show you how to do the ditch. You're younger than I am. I got it for you, so it's manageable. Now go ahead. Oh, no, I got to have somebody take care of my ditch. Boy, this is just terrible. Now, that graveyard, to get back to the subject, somebody new bought it. Oh, look at this mess. Well, you bought it as private property and you know it's private property. But I gotta have somebody clean this all up for me. Okay, and it's just my opinion. Okay, we'll do it once and we'll clean it up really good. But after that, we kind of got a liability problem, don't we? What happens if I'm working here full time, we go up on that graveyard and a log comes down and smashes my thigh bone, it breaks in 5 different pieces. My colleagues carry me out like I'm on the injured reserve lift. What do we got going here? We got workman's compensation, right? Okay, that's not really good to be on all the time. Every time you get hurt, workman's comp. Sooner or later, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's got to be a piece of paper that goes to the town where somebody signed it and they signed it a date that says they handed it over to the town. And if we don't have that paper, all right, I'll go with the moral code and try to help you clean this up, but I'm not going to be taking care of this every weekend. There's a liability here. Somebody's going to get hurt, and where do we go with that?
That's the question I have about that graveyard, because I have seen people get hurt. It's a dangerous
It appears
situation.
as though most of the widowmakers, if you will, have been removed. So,
But it's still, you're walking on somebody's private property, are we not?
Ed, go right ahead.
Bottom line is, if Jeff Martin oversees the easement and the right of way, I go to sleep every night and sleep like a baby knowing it's done and done right, and we have every legal right to be there and maintain.
Okay, thank you for that information. Now, does everybody know who Jeff Martin is?
He was an attorney for 30 years.
Okay. Thank you.
Anything else? Elaine?
Elaine Berg, I agree with what Scott said. I think everybody needs to remember why they're here, for the betterment of the town, and I think a reset needs to happen, and people need to take their egos away from it and do what's right for the community, and improve communication. And remember why you're here.
Elaine, can I ask you a question? Why did you leave the board?
We gotta love each other, right, Denise? Come on over here.
If there's not anything else, I would ask that we make the motion to pay.
There's somebody else.
Oh, hold on.
Is there somebody else that wants to
I just
speak?
want to say one thing. I apologize for exploding about my emotions. I apologize, but it needs to be said.
Not a problem.
And are we gonna get a public apology and a written apology?
No, you're not.
There you have it.
All right, let it go.
Can't.
Let it go.
Can't.
No, I just wanted to clarify.
That's when you clarified it.
Okay, and you did too.
Let it go.
With,
My name is Sophia Columbus. I was the class president at my school, and I can promise you, I was on the board, obviously, full of high schoolers, and I can promise you, none of us conducted ourselves in the way that you do, sitting up there, pouting, rolling your eyes at every statement made. It's embarrassing. It's honestly embarrassing. It's embarrassing. For you to sit back in your chair, pout, roll your eyes. You're how old? You're grown. You shouldn't be acting like that at all.
anything else?
I think you're right, handsome young man.
Bob,
with that,
Bob, this is why I liked you having you. Are you sure you don't want to come back to work?
With that, I'm going to ask that we pay the general bills and approve the supervisor's financial report. Can I get a motion in a second to pay bills, at least the general bills, and approve the supervisor's bills? Okay.
General bills, yes.
Yep. Motion by Mr. Christ, second by Mr. Lang. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. And with that, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Mr. Valentine,
Just let them.
second by Mr. Christ.
Aye.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you.